what you do in my life and my family. For you the only one that keeps us out of Yahuah. Through everything that we go through, the ups and downs. Hallelujah, Yahuah. We love you. Rock your name. Thank you, Abba. Yeah. Told the Abba Yahuah for your light. Gave me your compassion even in spite. All the crime I committed before your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Enmity with Yahuah is a no-no. I used to burn rubber on that wide road. Thankful you released me from them strongholds. 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 Told the Abba, can I wait to embrace you? Reminiscence patiently waiting, looking for breakthrough. Stay cool. Fools burn bridges, enemy let loose. Remember ancient path, young lady, don't let them change you. Stay tuned, Yahuah's return, enemy consumed. For those who ain't been on your paw, don't seem like great news. Pray you been walking uprightly, rightly dividing the words of Abba, only the truth. Word to my wifey, praying for her day and nightly. Divorce, so that's unlikely. Protect her, stay away from the serpent like poison ivy. I'ma cover, yeah, precisely. We bow down to Almighty. Yahuah got a schooler, she prays, and that excites me. She loved me long time, and plus she's tidy. Set a good example, she's modest, there's nothing like it. Ain't seen nothing more beautiful through my eyelids. I love her like I love my own body, shalom to my rib. Told her Abba Yahuah for your light. Gave me your compassion even in spite. All the crime I committed before your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Enmity with Yahuah is a no-no. I used to burn rubber on that wide road. Thankful you released me from them strongholds. 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 Told the Abba, you're the source of what we needed. Without you as an Abba, there's no proceeding. Just the thoughts of my actions before displeasing. You could have easily killed me and took my breathing. The compassion you showed me was so intriguing. We like babies and pacifiers and teething. Life's a puzzle, you help me collect the pieces. What you set your hands to is what you're reaping. And for this reason, we clinging through every season while swinging on demons. You in our corner, basically keeping me on my 2 feet and almost defeated, popping and weaving. I'm bad and bleeding, holding your hand, heaving and wheezing. Did our people forget it, broken and grieving? With our Abba, we focus more on mistreatment, misleading, deceiving people with peace and hate is increasing. Where is your allegiance? Only 2 places, she or Eden. Told the Abba Yahuah for your light. You gave me your compassion even in spite. All the crime I committed before your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Enmity with Yahuah is a no-no. I used to burn that rubber on that wide road. I'm thankful you released me from the strongholds. 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 Told the Abba Yahuah for your light. You gave me your compassion even in spite. All the crime I committed before your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Your sight. Enmity with Yahuah is a no-no. I used to burn that rubber on that wide road. I'm thankful you released me from the strongholds. 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 No longer suckers, no longer they jiving shuckers. Shalom to my brothers, making it different out of these ruckers. Where truth is discovered, all of these lies that we discovered. We also all really used to be labeled as being colored. And some of us recover, pray for orphans and mothers. I pray you have food when you open your covers. This light affliction haven't killed you, just made us utter. All praises to Yahuah because you know he loves us. All praises to Yahuah because you know he loves us. All praises to Yahuah because you know he loves us.
Black people can't be held responsible for the way that they act. Would you agree that the central processing unit of a computer was based on the human brain? Sure. Okay. Let's say that everything on the central processing unit, its mathematics, the language in which it communicates with other computers, the history, everything on it was totally wiped out and a virus was uploaded. When the computer started freaking out, would you blame the computer or the computer program? When Africans came over here, we didn't act like this. It was literally beat and erased from us. Our God, our language. You know, I always tell people if your religion has to be translated to you, it's not your religion. So in saying that, we don't even know why we hate ourselves.
you haven't paid attention to the news of this basketball star, let's shoot to the beginning. Brittany Yvette Griner merged through the womb October 18th, 1990 in Houston. Tight family, keep it pure. But as a kid, got bullied for being tall. But you see how God do it, right? Cause her size soon took her to new heights. Started balling in middle school, just spiral. When the dunk and the junior year went viral. Got attention from everybody and their mama. Shaquille O'Neal to Obama. Winning gold medals beautifully, all while repping for the alphabet community. Even with her accolades in the league, to sustain her lifestyle, she had to play overseas. Cause in all reality, overseas paid 3 times her WNBA salary. But all money ain't good money. Real talk, one of those overseas trips in the airport got stopped before a flight. Now the leading shot blocker gets the worst block of her life. Custom interrogation. All over a vape pen. On my mama, that's wrong. Vape pens, what? A good $20 back home. But they raising it up, charging her with a large-scale transportation of drugs. No lie, that's vicious. Dr. Umar voice, you don't find that suspicious? Let me speak in code with these platforms and let y'all know what's going on. A week before her issues, that country invaded that country, putting us in the middle. We saw a great woman there resting. They saw opportunity, gain leverage. Now the star who won all of them chips is now being used as a bargaining chip. Moving slow, delaying steps. She play basketball, they playing chess. Making moves hinging upon her being used as a political pawn. Demanding we give up a lot. Only way they free her is with a prisoner swap. They free her for a perp in the US. A man that's known as the merchant of. Now time is flying. Teammates missing, her wife is crying. Her 2 kids, her beautiful twins. If you did it, Joe, well, do it again. Cause you know you see them letters, how she terrified she might be there forever. You know that place where she at? Usually mistreats people that's a part of her community. Which bring me back to the beginning. 9 years, overly sentenced. Now that that's shown, we got one job, bring Brittany Griner back home.
To the young man who tried to convince his teammates every day that he really from the streets, that he really a gangster, that he really about that life. Let me tell you something, bro. If you want to be in the streets, go be in the streets. The streets on 24/7. Funeral home booming. So if you want to be in the street, go be in the streets. But stop bringing that negative energy around people who trying to escape this. Why you think your teammates where they at right now? Cause they want better. You know what's back home. Nothing. You see it every time you go. So stop playing games with yourself. Women.
I slept on the beat. Where do we go from here? When it feels like I don't feel you. Where do we go from here? When it seems like I don't hear you. But why am I in this place? Feeling misplaced. Oh, why? Oh, why?
Let's go.
Caught me by surprise when you told me you would never leave me nor forsake me. And did it, cause you meant it. Meant every word that you said. Wasn't used to actually lining up with the words people say. You showed me that you were by my side, even in the quiet time. I hold on to your word just like a treasure, cause I never wanna lose it, cause it's special special to my life. Has been the same since you came in. Caught me by surprise when you told me you would never leave me nor forsake me. And did it, 'cause you meant every word that you said. Where do we go from it? When it feels like I don't feel you, where do we go from it? If it seems like I don't hear you, but why am I in this place? Feeling misplaced,
Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go. To the next one.
Never thought this would be easy. Never thought life would be easy. But I know you help me love for sure. And I know it's all from above. The Heavenly Father's been teaching us often to learn and listen. Flee division. No talking, we live it. I stay committed. Never distant. Fully submitted. I know you try your best, and I must confess, it's easy to submit when you keep me focused on my mission. You keep me at attention. Help me change my way. The Father made a way. Watch me at the word. Told me things I've never heard. Ain't no comparison to no other man. You're my best friend, and I love you, love you.
Come on, Joshua. Let's go.
Feels good to know that you got me, and it shows.
Ooh, Zion.
Even on the days that I had me, and I know I'm a handful of times. It took me some time to get in line. The Father had to renew my mind, 'cause I know I wasn't right. He sent me a good man, he a part of your plan, and I'm thankful for that. I never want to waste that, never will I forget about you. Feels good to know. Ain't no comparison to no other man.
Let's go, Zion.
You're my best friend.
Hey.
And I love you, love you.
No, you go right here. I'll wait. No, never mind what the situation is. I'll wait. No. Don't you try to elevate me, because when you try to elevate me, you're going to feel like you have control of me. I'll wait. I don't care what she look like. I'll wait. I don't care what he looks like. I'll wait. I don't care what type of job or what it's paying for right now. wait. I don't care about the position or the title or whatever the world may say. Wait. The Bible says, for those that wait upon the Lord, and right now, I'm going to wait, and I'm waiting on the Lord. Because see, when God does it, you can't remove me. When God does it, you can't evict me. See, when God does it, you can't take me out of the position that I'm in. Wait. You know, the reason I'm willing to wait, because I've been waiting this.
Let's go.
I will never know. I will never sell my soul. There's somewhere better. Yeah. Streets of gold, that's my goal. I won't let up. No, too much is on the line. Ain't got no time. We in the last times. Vaccines, I'm fine. The most high on my mind, always on my mind. You would be surprised. Wicked world of lies. Who gon' fold tonight? Have you chosen night? Open your eyes. It's time to big aside. Are you gon' fold tonight? I never sell my soul. I won't sell my soul now. I was first. Are you gon' fold tonight? Won't sell my soul now. Yo.
Let's go.
Abba took me out the dirt. He said that I'd be back, but I'll be coming through a hearse. He told me I'm a god, but I'ma die just like men. Before I go, please forgive me for my sins. I repent. I got my eyes on the kingdom. Why I focus on worldly things I can't bring them? Why I be a slave to my flesh? He set me apart from the world. Why I live in sin like the rest? I put on my crown, it's giving impress. My goal is them gold streets, not to impress nobody. I'd rather be nobody. I want to meet the king and put on a new body. New me, who this? Old friends, they switched. They seen I changed it. They took offense. And I hate to see them go, but they ain't want to see me grow. I would never sell my soul. I could never let this go. Wanna see those streets of gold. Praising you, it never gets old. Vaccines, I'm telling them no. I just wanna go. I will never know. I will never sell my soul. There's somewhere better. Yeah. Streets of gold, that's my goal. I won't let up. No, too much is on the line. Ain't got no time. We in the last time. Vaccines, I'm fine. The most high on my mind, always on mine. You would be surprised. Wicked world of lies. Who gon' fold tonight? Have you chosen night? Open your eyes. It's time to big aside.
Rise up, Yahuah.
Are you gon' fold tonight?
Like I
Won't
said,
sell my soul
most
now.
definitely.
Na, na, na,
Let's go to the next gym. Let's go to the next gym. I love y'all. Like you. Salute, respect. Let's go, man.
We are the only creatures on the planet that'll kill an animal, bring it into our home, put oil in a pan, fry it, and add seasoning. We are the only creatures on the planet that cooks an animal after it's dead. Animals in the wild that were created to eat flesh only eat the flesh of animals that consume vegetation. I'm going to repeat. Only animals in the wild that only eat flesh only eat the flesh of animals that consume vegetation, and they eat it raw. They eat the bones, they eat the skin, they eat every single thing so they can get the proper minerals from that animal. The blood is the river of life, so they eat the blood of that animal. But us, taught to be other than ourselves, taught to move other than ourselves, and that's why we're dying and aging so rapidly. We have to understand and deal with nothing but common sense. We have to put this man-made intelligence to the side and deal strictly with common sense. And what does common sense tell you about animals that eat flesh? They die more rapidly than animals that eat vegetation. I repeat, animals that eat flesh die and age more rapidly than animals in the wild that only consume vegetation. Don't take my word for it. Think of the elephant. Think of the turtle. Think of every creature that you know that only eats vegetation in the wild. I'm not talking about the domesticated animals. The ones that you feed foods that come from laboratories, your cats, your dogs, your birds. Yes, they age rapidly, and now guess what? They got cancer too. They got high blood pressure too. They have diabetes too. Do you not see the link between man-made food and our biochemical structure, our cellular structure? We have to get in tune on each and every level, which allows us to know that the nutritionists of the Western world have no clue what they're talking about when it comes to nutrition. If they tell you to consume flesh, they're a fool. If they tell you to drink the milks of other animals, they're a fool. The only milk you ever needed in your life was the milk from your mother. But after you're weaned off the breast of your mother, you stop producing an enzyme that breaks down the milk. You can't break down lactose anymore, especially people of African descent. Europeans still produce an enzyme to break down lactose. People of African descent do not. So if you're of African descent, you are lactose intolerant if you know it or not. We have to get in tune. We're dying. We are committing delicious suicides every time we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Look at us. We're going gray. We're supposed to grow gray. Yada says who? That's a copper deficiency. That's a mineral deficiency. You're not supposed to age the way you're aging. You're wrinkled. I'm supposed to get wrinkled. That comes with age. No, that comes with dehydration. The food that they give you have no water content. What does that mean? It's hard for you to digest, so it has no water content. It has no fiber. Insoluble or soluble fiber. So you can't digest it. And if you can't digest it, what does that do to you? It makes you tired. And you guys had the nerve to call it, I have the itis. Not realizing when you see itis at the end of a word, it means inflammation, bronchitis. Inflammation to the bronchial tubes. We have to get in tune, and you listen to all these nutritionists, and all they do is regurgitate information after people that died rapid deaths, aged way before their time, and had every disease known to man. We have to get in tune. We have to understand truth. We must love ourselves, but how can we love ourselves when we've been taught to only consume death? How can we love life when we've been taught to only consume death? Don't you see? Don't you see what they've done to you? They've made you addicts. Soon as you came out the wombs of your mothers, while you were in the wombs of your mothers, because what your mother consumed created you, flesh of my flesh and blood of my blood. But we want to think about cocaine and heroin when we think about drugs. But what about Coca-Cola? What about unnatural sugars, unnatural salts, unnatural seasonings, preservatives that keeps this food good for 6 months? If Mother Nature won't touch it, why would you? Why would you? Because you don't eat to live, you eat for taste. You don't eat to understand how to live a proper life. You eat for taste. You say, yada, I just want to, it just tastes so good. I can't stop eating it, my beautiful sisters. They have indoctrinated your mind and told you how your bodies are supposed to look. And you'll rather put on a stomach just to say you got a little hips and a little butt. You'd rather get cancer consuming so much foods that have so many chemicals just to say I'm thick or I like the way my pants fit me? Do you not know you were created in the image and likeness of God? And your only true clothes is the body you have. The home that you really have is the body you have. You have to understand you. You have to understand how to properly love yourself. You must become confident within who and what you are. You are magnificent. You don't have to put on all this weight to say that I'm beautiful. You don't have to put all this weight for a person to look at you and say, girl, you look fine. And my brothers, some of you stomachs are so big you can't see your penises. It's a problem with that. Now you suffer from erectile dysfunctions, not understanding that your blood has become clogged from the type of foods that you eat. All these greasy, starchy, chemical-infested foods. What are you truly worth? What are you truly worth? You have to understand you. You have to love you. You have to get in tune with who you truly are. You must eat life. You must eat life. You must eat life to enjoy life. Eat life. Be life. Think life. But since we came out of the womb, they taught us death. Eat death. Think death. Now we're emotional when we don't have the foods that's covered in all these chemicals. You wouldn't eat strawberry covered in bleach, but you'll eat a hamburger with all types of chemicals. You'll eat breads with all types of chemicals. You drink sodas with all types of chemicals, and some chemicals you can't even pronounce. And a lot of you are stuck on the teachings of. We have to get in tune, and you listen to all these nutritionists that all they do is regurgitate information after people that died rapid deaths. Seasonings, preservatives, that keeps this food good for 6 months. If Mother Nature won't touch it, why would you? Why would you? Because you don't eat to live, you eat for taste. You don't eat to understand how to live a proper life. You eat for taste. You say, Yada, I just want to, it just tastes so good. I can't stop eating it. My beautiful sisters, likeness of God. And your only true clothes is the body you have. The home that you really have is the body you have. You have to understand you. You have to understand how to properly love yourself. You must become confident within who and what you are. You are magnificent. You don't have to put on all this weight to say that I'm beautiful. You don't have to put all this weight for a person to look at you and say, girl, you look fine. And my brothers, some of you stomachs are so big you can't see your penises. It's a problem with that. Now you suffer from erectile dysfunctions, not understanding that your blood has become clogged from the type of foods that you eat. All these greasy, starchy, chemical-infested foods. What are you truly worth? What are you truly worth? You have to understand you. You have to love you. You have to get in tune with who you truly are. You must eat life. You must eat life. You must eat life to enjoy life. Eat life, be life, think life. But since we came out of the womb, they taught us death. Eat death. Think death. Now we're emotional when we don't have the foods that's covered in all these chemicals. You wouldn't eat a strawberry covered in bleach, but you'll eat a hamburger with all types of chemicals. You'll eat breads with all types of chemicals. You drink sodas with all types of chemicals, and some chemicals you can't even pronounce. And a lot of you are stuck on the teachings of the old. Yeah, I'm an alkaline vegan, and you're still sick. I'm on a Play-Doh diet, yada, but you're still sick. The teachings must change with the time because the chemicals are changing. The foods are changing. The toxins are changing. And guess what? We as a people that consider ourselves to be human are changing on a cellular level because we're adding foods in that go against our genetics. So tell your nutritionist, when they tell you to eat flesh or drink milk, you have no clue what you're talking about when it comes to nutrition. Because your same nutritionist is going to see doctors themselves. Your same nutritionist is battling cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, and lupus. Something is not right, family. We must get in tune on each and every level. What's more powerful? What's more amazing and what's more beautiful? What's more powerful? What's more amazing? What's more beautiful than you? Nothing. You must take back your life. Be your own physician. Know thyself. Heal thyself. Love thyself. All praises be to the Most High. Peace.
Let's go, Yahuah. We out here. Quit playing with it. Let's move.
Because of you. Because of you. Because of you. Yeah, yeah. Because of you.
Rise up after you.
It's all because of you.
These songs are so silent.
Because of you.
No, we do that shit silent.
Yeah. I'm an overcomer. Teach my hands to war and my fingers to fight. Because of you, I was able to change my life. I was blind, but I knew I wasn't living right. Because of you, I ain't lose my mind. I could have lost it all. You saved me from the fall. Flaws and all. You just want me to play my part. Love you and trust you. Why is that so hard? Put no one above you. There's only one God. I serve. Turned away from your ways, I had some nerve. Look at how far I came, I can't reverse. Could've been in a hearse, or it could've been worse. Yeah, eternal life is the goal. Yeah, yeah. Fear the one who can't kill your soul. In this faith I'm standing 10 toes, and it's because of you. It's because of you. You saved me from the rain. But I survived. Heal me from the pain. Everything I went through. Cleanse me from my ways. There's power in your name. Teach my hands to war and my fingers to fight. Because of you, I was able to change my life. I was blind, but I knew I wasn't living right. Because of you, I ain't lose my mind. I could have lost it all. You saved me from the fall. Flaws and all. You just want me to play my part. Love you and trust you. Why is that so hard? Put no one above you. There's only one God. And that's facts. When I was in the world, I made a lot of mistakes. I ain't going back. I overcame so many things. Could've fell for the trap. I seen so many lives fall by the wayside. But you saved mine, now it's game time. If a serpent wanna play that game, that's fine. I'ma step on him like a big stepper. I ain't losing your love, it don't get no better than this. You saved me from the rain. Heal me from the pain. Cleanse me from my ways. There's power in your name. Teach my hands to war and my fingers to fight. Because of you, I was able to change my life. I was blind, but I knew I wasn't living right. Because of you, I ain't lose my mind. I could have lost it all. You saved me from the fall. Flaws and all. You just want me to play my part. Love you and trust you. Why is that so hard? Put no one above you. There's only one God. Yeah, yeah. There's only one God. One God. One God.
Time for us to go to the next jam. Let's go. Hey.
Overcome. Teach my hands to war and my fingers to fight. I'm overcome.
Now let's go to the next jam, Yahuah. Man, we out here, man. Man, I hope y'all like them couple new joints that I just played, families. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful joints that I played at the beginning, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So I truly do hope that y'all love that. With that being said, families, let's go.
Afro-Latinos, individuals of African descent from Latin America or those who have one parent of African descent and another of Latino descent, are a vital part of the American story. The community is larger than you may think. In 2017, there were more than 3 million Afro-Latinos living in the United States. Most Afro-Latinos reside in New York, California, and Florida. The majority of Afro-Latinos were born in the United States. In 2017, 73% of Afro-Latinos were native-born citizens. The story of the descendants of African peoples in Panama is not only the story of the first persons of African...
Pause. All right, now families, man, as the world go along and you hear wars and rumors of wars, families, man, the Most High is truly walking amongst us, families. You know what I'm saying? His spirit, families, is set apart ruach, and the abundance of it, families, bring the spiritual works of Yahuah through Yahusha, families, and is being shown through generational talents of the gifted, y'all. Many are called, but only few are chosen. The gifted, families, the GTAs, the Green Berets. Let's continue.
Origin in modern times to arrive on the mainland of the Americas, but also the story of a community that has long struggled to obtain basic civil rights. Believe it or not, Costa Rica, Panama, and the Canal Zone had one time an official policy of racial discrimination against its citizens of African descent. 90% of the Dominican Republic's population has black ancestry. Barabal Arabia Resach, a sociology professor at the University of Puerto Rico and a member of Colectivo Ye, was shocked when she learned how many Puerto Ricans identified as white on the last census. "How do I fit into a country where I am a minority?" said Dr. Arabia Resach, who was born on the island and identifies as a black woman. Many Puerto Ricans say they also feel that choosing black erases their unique cultural identity, including language, food, and customs, and align their experience too closely with that of African Americans on the mainland. "We are clear on the fact that we want to minimize the number of people identifying as white and increase the number as black," added Glorian Sancha Antonetti Lebron, another member of Colectivo Ye. Ms. Antonetti Lebron said that any shame in identifying as black in Puerto Rico stemmed from a lack of positive or affirming images of blackness. The education system, which has never talked about all the contributions of black people, has always shown us as slaves and not people who were enslaved. In June of 2020, U.S. Congressional Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stated on the Black Lives Matter movement that Latinos are black. When asked what the Latinx community should do to stop racism, she said, "First thing we should do is talk about racism within our community, how we are impacted by racism, and how it also exists within us." A lot of times I'll hear people say this is about Black Lives Matter. What about Latinos? And I'll always say, Latinos are black. We are Afro-Latina, and we run an entire racial spectrum. We have to have conversations around colorism, and we have to have conversations about the African and indigenous roots from which we come, and how that's reflected in systems of power, wealth inequality, and frankly, our political system, said Cortez in her concluding statements. There is no right way to be black or Latino.
So family, certain individuals that's amongst your own kind, families, they was able to get their certain PhDs. They was able to go to these certain universities, y'all. Go into these libraries, families, and scroll through these catalogs, my brothers and sisters. And baby, man, they was able to see things and search for things and find things, families, that they normally won't give to you, families, in high school. You know what I'm saying? They was able to get their master's, families, their bachelor degrees, families, to do what? Research, studies, my brothers and sisters. And then when they find these certain things out, man, they be looking like, wow, that's deep. Man, like, wow, how long have they been hiding this? They've been going through their libraries, y'all. Scrolling through their catalogs, man. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one.
Do you know who you messing with? Read the Bible, Psalm 104 and 31 through 33. The glory of thy power shall endure forever. Thy power shall rejoice in his work. 32, he looketh on the earth, and it trembleth. He toucheth the hills, and they smoke. 33, I will sing unto thy power as long as I live. I will sing praise to my power high, while I have my being. Psalm 72 and 18. The voice of thy thunder was in the heaven. The lightnings lightened the world. The earth trembled and shook. Psalm 114 and 7. Tremble thou earth at the presence of thy power high, at the presence of the God, the power of Jacob.
He is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He created man with words that he spake up. Almighty, all-seeing creator. The essence of my genetic makeup. We fell victim to that pathetic snake, but the Father spanked us, but never forsake us. Allowed us to wake up like sipping on K-cups. I stay up, hands raised, giving him thanks much. Giving him praise such, hoping it reaches his throne, a sweet fragrance. Giving my flesh and my bone as oblation. Trying to get my name etched in stone in quotations. Up in the book of light that belong to the ancient. They think I'm on my dome cause I believe what I can't touch. But it's not by faith alone, it's gonna be what's gonna make us. I still approach the throne praying faith for the faithless. I pray that they make it, open the book, get acquainted with the highest glory from Genesis to Revelation. His mercy, his patience, righteousness is attainted. My Father is amazing and his will never changing. I just wanna praise him, I'm just gonna praise him.
will never find another almighty power like mine. There will never ever be another power like a higher. Open up the Bible, read and see that he will take you higher. Glory to his power, he'll forever reign inside my heart, inside the heavens and the earth, upon his holy throne of fire. There will never ever be another power like a higher. Open up the Bible, read and see that he will take you higher. Glory to his power, he'll forever reign inside my heart, inside the heavens and the earth, upon his holy throne of fire.
That is brutality, man. Brutality be going in, families. You know what I'm saying? That's the group of GOCC and families, man. They do some beautiful things over their families, man. I do have some wonderful brother families here in the Ace families that is that's part of that camp families, and they do say Ahaya, Asha Ahaya. You know what I'm saying? So I respect that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's all about unity right now, families. That's what it's all about. It's all about us scattered abroad on all four corners of this planet, families, gathering ourselves together, assembling ourselves together, families. And these two branches shall become one. These two branches, families. Those that's from the west and those that's from the east. Let's get it.
Father, we need your love and your wisdom. My intentions was pure from the beginning. Making it to the kingdom, that's the mission. Your life been going wrong cause you don't listen. You rather hate on your own people than show them love. You screaming Black Lives Matter but can't forgive your brother. We gotta put down that jealousy. Change starts with you and me. Yeah. Stop that hate, yeah. Put down the bait, yeah. Let that spirit in your heart, don't let Satan know. I came from the slum, just like you, a real stepper, yeah. Had to change my life for the better, found my peace, yeah. Yeshaya, please set him free. His mind in chains, he cannot see. The opposition, he rather seek out this world instead of the God of Israel. I hope you get it one day, that pain will go away. When you open up your eyes, know that the kingdom is inside. You don't have to look up to the sky no more. Seek out the Most High, he will open up doors. We need your love and your wisdom. My intentions was pure from the beginning. Making it to the kingdom, that's the mission. Your life been going wrong cause you don't listen. You rather hate on your own people than show them love. You screaming Black Lives Matter but can't forgive your brother. We gotta put down that jealousy. Change starts with you and me.
We gotta change for the better. We gotta come together. When the times get hard, we can make it through this stormy weather. So keep your head up no matter what. Because these demons just wanna bring you down, but you know that Bible come in a clutch. I really wanna help you see Christ can give you everything you need. Don't give up a fool. We all need healing and remedy. And I understand your pain, but realize it will never stay the same. So never give up. Don't take yourself out the game. Endure the pain. Exercise your faith. You gotta pray. And you can't listen to what people say. Only care what the most I think about you, because you gon' rise above it all. That's no matter who got you.
Need your love and your wisdom. My intentions was pure from the beginning. Making it to the kingdom, that's the mission. Your life been going wrong cause you don't listen. You rather hate on your own people than show them love. You screaming Black Lives Matter but can't forgive your brother. We gotta put down that jealousy. Change starts with you and me. Yeah.
Let's get it, man. Let's bring them vibes, man. We got to. Let's bring them vibes. Let's go.
In the South. So I live in the South, and over the last month, I've been keeping record of the things that have been said in front of me. So the first one was a guy that I'd hired to detail my car, come to my house and detail my car. He had come a few times, and on the last time, he finished and came in to tell me that he wanted me to come look at it to make sure nothing was fucked up. So I said, surely nothing's fucked up. And he said, well, I don't want it to be fucked up like an N-word checkbook. So I looked at him in a state of horror, and he said, what? Oh, like a black guy's checkbook. And I said, just stop. Not interested in looking at anything with you now. And he said, then he started to go on some kind of rant about how he can say that because his great-grandfather was part Indian, his words. Asked him to leave, and of course never had him back. The second thing was I was at a lighting store looking at a fixture for my house, and I was talking to the lady who owned it with her husband, and both of them were out there, and I was asking questions about a chandelier, and her husband chimed in and said, oh, are you looking for chandelier? And she started to laugh, and I looked confused, and she said, oh, honey, we've got a store in the hood, and those people, they come in and they call them chandeliers. And then they began to laugh, and then I walked out. The next was a guy that I was thinking about going on a date with called me one evening, and I answered the phone. I said, hey, what are you doing? He said, ironing my shirt for work tomorrow. And I said, ooh, putting in extra starch, just saying something silly. And he goes, hell no, I ain't no N-word. So then I hung up again in horror. And the last, I was thinking about buying a lot to build a house, and I ran into a guy that lived around the corner, and I was telling him about it. And he said, well, whatever you do, if you decide to ever sell it, just don't sell it to no Indians. All within the last month. And these are the same people, I can assure you, that will say and declare and claim that racism, it doesn't exist.
So, long story short, they are running mad, obsessing over.
We got some more joints from this here. We can talk every after, man. We did some wonderful things over there, man. So go check them out. You think?
mama listen? Why don't my daddy listen? Why don't my brothers listen? Why don't my sisters listen? I think uncles they don't listen. None of my cousins get it. Well, a couple of them get it with it. I just want them all in it. True. Why don't my mama get it? Why don't my daddy get it? Why don't my brothers get it? Why don't my sisters get it? I think uncles they don't get it. None of my cousins listen. Well, a couple of them really get it. True. I want them all in it. Why don't I listen? Why don't I listen? I want them all in it. I want them all in it. I just want my mama in it. Man, I need my daddy in it. I want my brothers them to get it. Cause baby girl never listen. Look, cause I'll never hear me. I swear I love my family dearly. But since I dipped in them scriptures, nobody wanna be near me. Nobody wanna repent. Complain about keeping commandments. But you can keep all of these laws. In America, you follow rules. Turn around and say I'm in the cold. But look at the stuff that you do. You be spending your money on these money things. I pray the most I redeem my family. Cause nobody wanna listen. Got a couple cousins rolling with me. This ain't my word, the scripture. All facts, no fiction. Diffractions called friction. I rather multiply. Deuteronomy 7:6. Go and look at it with your own eyes. We chosen by the most high. Only people that he ever known. We the valley of the dry bones. Can't you see I got my traveling shoes on? If it ain't written, then you living wrong. I pray you don't hate me by any of the song. Cause I'm your cousin, brother, nephew, and son. Why don't my mama listen? Why don't my daddy listen? Why don't my brothers listen? Why don't my sisters listen? My team uncles don't listen. None of my cousins get it. Well, a couple of them get it with it. I just want them all in it. True. Why don't my mama get it? Why don't my daddy get it? Why don't my brothers get it? Why don't my sisters get it? My team uncles they don't get it. None of my cousins listen. Well, a couple of them really get it. True. Why don't listen? Why don't listen? I want you all in it. Why don't in it? Why y'all be traditions of men? Have you not read in Colossians? Can't spoil me with philosophy. It's only one way that you getting in. That's who keep his commandments. I thought you could do all things through Christ. Guess you don't want eternal life. Christ wouldn't be clubbing on a Friday night. Church on a Sunday, that's not right. Keeping the Sabbath holy and what you like. Wanna go at a time to pay that price. Kindle the fire to cook your rice. If you don't repent, you gon' be surprised when you stand before the Most High. It will reveal your deepest lies. And I don't want you to feel this fire. Come walk with me, just talk with me, and plain to see. If you really believe, just look and see how we in the sea. Remember who we are in our captivity. 28th chapter with the people in Deuteronomy. Why don't my mama listen? Why don't my daddy listen? Why don't my brothers listen? Why don't my sisters listen? My team uncles don't listen. None of my cousins get it. A couple of them get it with it. I just want them all in it. True. Why don't my mama get it? Why don't my daddy get it? Why don't my brothers get it? Why don't my sisters get it? My team uncles they don't get it. None of my cousins listen. Well, a couple of them really get it.
To the next chance, that's right.
I want them all in it. I don't listen, why don't listen, I want them all in it.
Let's go.
I want them all. Why they don't get it?
Okay, so the first thing is, which I spoke about in many other interviews, I was sick and I had ailments myself. So basically, I ended up having a slight heart attack. I ended up going to the hospital, and I had a scare at the hospital, and the doctors at the hospital literally scared me straight. From then, I went home. I sat down on my couch. I turned on YouTube to look for some natural ways of healing because the medicine that I had been taking before, I was having all types of physical malfunctionings from them. So, a white man popped up. I wasn't really vibing with his spirit and energy, and I ended up the suggestion came on, and Dr. Sabi came on right after that, and man, I tapped into Dr. Sabi, and he drew on my heart space, man. He really opened up my heart chakra. I fell in love with his message, fell in love with his image, and just him being a black man and teaching love, light, and healing and unifying the people, man, it really did something to me. So that inspired me, I was in spirit moving to get into like herbology. So I started herbology courses, got so many certifications in that. And then I ended up buying my own herbs, mixing up my own, formulas. And I healed myself of everything that I was going through, which was diabetes. I had diabetes 1 and 2. I also had messed up kidneys. My liver was fatty. I used to drink a lot. I smoked a lot. I snorted cocaine. And I healed the scar tissue on my heart. So
And I can just imagine how much that affects your mental health too.
Oh man, I was messed up, man, mentally. And then you gotta remember, I was gangbanging. I was in the streets. You know, I was in a gang called the Black Mom Street Gang. Anybody from St. Louis know all about that. You know, and then before then, I'm originally born in Illinois. You know, so I grew up around a whole lot of GDs and BDs. So, you know, I was introduced to the gang culture very, very early in my life. I remember people, you know, dying in my alley. I used to look out my grandma's window and see horrific type of violence and events that happen in my communities. That really molded and shaped me a lot to do a lot of the, you know, things that I was doing in the streets, which was drinking, smoking, toting around guns, gang banging.
I can imagine, did that ever traumatize you? Can I imagine this traumatizing you?
Well, as I look back on it now, I look at it as a traumatizing effect. But back then, it was just part of everyday life. I thought it was part of my culture. But now that I'm understanding what culture really means, which is it comes from the word cultivation, and cultivation means to grow. That actually was against my culture. That was anti-culture, the community and the environment that I was growing up in.
We talk about the term health is wealth, which is a very, very controversial term, right? But it's also very truthful. Very down to us on how feeling healthy has anything to do with feeling wealthy from the experience that you have from, you know, even for 14 years.
I mean, so if you really just like look back on etymology and you start looking up the definitions of words, if you look up the definition of actual wealth, it's going to bring you back to the definition of health, because in order to be truly wealthy, you have to have health first. And that's what the black community is lacking, especially when you're talking about the rappers. They're making all of this money, but their diets are poor. They're not on lipids, they're on diets.
Introduce to us a great way on how, as like never meditated before, how will someone just get into meditation who has never meditated?
You have many different ways of meditation. I would say the easiest way of meditation, because a lot of people say I couldn't clear the chatter. So the whole thing is, don't worry about clearing the chatter. Sit down, align your spinal cord, and focus on your breath. So you sit up upright, and you would do diaphragmatic breathings. As I was talking about before, the lungs act as the wings, but the wings are pushed out due to your diaphragmatic muscles. So you breathe in. When you breathe in through the nasal passage, your stomach's supposed to expand. So you hold it for 3 seconds, then you're going to release. When you release, you're going to release for 9 seconds. And when you're releasing, your stomach, your belly button damn near supposed to be touching your spinal cord. So when you're doing that, you're going to do it in a rhythmatic frequency, but you're going to focus on the breath. When you start focusing on the breath, if you do it long enough, you'll start to hear your heartbeat. You'll be able to hear it. And then that's what you're keying in on. So true meditation is just becoming in the present now. Because when you draw your consciousness into the present now, this is where magical things happen in that. Because now you're not stuck worrying about the past, nor you're not planning or preparing for the future. You're stuck in the moments, and those moments are eternity. Right. And the only way you can tap into that eternity is by focusing on something. So don't worry about the chatter, just focus on your breath. Diaphragmatic breathing is one of the greatest forms of meditation. Another one is vocalism meditation, when you're using your verbiage and you opening up your throat chakra, and you can hum, or hey, sheen, sham.
What you're talking about earlier about that book, there's a book called Breath, and how the power, even the power now, that book is a beautiful book. I recommend everyone to get that book, but just the power of being in the now, and all problems and all anxiety just comes from not being in the present moment.
Facts.
And that shows by mindfulness, mindful breathing, and you're a big, big person individual and a healer who pushes mindful breathing, and much gratitude for that, because that's what a lot of the community needs is mindful breathing.
Yeah.
And that would just center them in the present moment and shut down all anxiety.
And then the health from it, it's just so beneficial health-wise. Like, you know, having conscious breathing, or what you would call mindful breathing, you're literally slowing down your heart rate. Not only is you slowing down your heart rate and calming your heart rate, but you're inciting the autonomic nervous system. Not only that, you're getting more carbon dioxide inside the body to convert over into sugar, which this sugar will then turn into water and give you ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate, and that's how you yield energy and vitality. So, you know, just by slowing down your breaths and holding on to that breath, you live longer. Another thing, it regulates your blood. It brings the circulatory system up. It unclogs arteries. I mean, it do so many amazing things. So, you know, technically, Like, if you look at your average person, they don't even know how to breathe. People saying they know it's people out here don't even know how to breathe. They nasal breathing, mouth breathing together. Like, a lot of people got bad breath because they mouth breathe when they sleep. A lot of people teeth are messed up because they mouth breathe when they sleep. So, you know, if you start going to sleep and you really start nasal breathing and you see how the air draws into the nasal passage, it goes through filtering processes before it goes through the brain and out of the body. People that mouth breathe, the air goes straight down the esophagus and you get bad gas, you get methane problems for it.
If you're interested in any of my healing modalities and you need botanicals and healing herbs, alkaline and healing herbs, actually wildcrafted from the land of their origin, make sure you visit my website at www.yakiawaken.com. www.yahikiawakened.
What about the people who have like sinus issues where one nose is blocked or they can't breathe through their nose? What do you suggest they do?
You do fire breaths through the nose. You do 9 that way, do the same minutes, in and out the nose, in and out the mouth.
How effective is this?
Give it 3 minutes and you will unblock the nasal passage, because people don't know how to breathe. People are mouth breathers because we have been taught to be greedy and to eat, and we constantly putting things in our mouth. We are if you notice the so-called black community, we are very infatuated with our mouths. We either talking too much with our mouths, don't know how to be still, don't know how to be silent. We either drinking too much with our mouths to quench thirst or to quench the dehydration that we're going through because we eating the wrong things, or we being dried out by all the artificial lights or electronics. And then last but not least, we always putting things in our mouths to eat because we're addicted to sugar, you know, that came to fulfill that missing love within us. And that's the reason why we are associating sugar with love. So we constantly putting things in our mouth. If we're not chewing on candy, we chewing on bubble gum. If we're not chewing on bubble gum, we sucking on peppermints or lollipops. If we're not doing that, we eating foods. We even eating 3 to 5 meals a day when you're only really supposed to be eating 1 meal a day at a specific time. So we are so infatuated with our mouths that we even start to breathe through our mouths. We miss the nose, which is where the true breath's supposed to be drawn in from. You know, if you actually read the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 7, you know, it was talking about how Yahweh came down and breathed into the nostrils of Adam the breath of life, and then Adam became a living soul. You know, so we even look at ancient relics and ancient scriptures that we're supposed to be nasal breathing to get that oxygen molecule and that iron phosphate to the brain, for our brain can have them neural maps and that intelligence, you know, for we can be able to convey melanin neurotransmitters throughout our whole entire body.
And I know a lot of Americans, they have a huge problem with stress eating. A lot of people, as soon as they get stressed out, that's either from coming home from work, they stress eat, they go home and eat a huge meal, they bloat their stomachs, and they just feel like crap after.
Facts.
How does someone deal with stress eating? A lot of people stress eat. How do you deal with that? How do you beat that?
So, I mean, this is what I think about stress. Our people are very addictive people. We have a very addictive personality because the polymer melanin that we made up with is an absorption molecule. So, and it's a nurturing molecule. So we tend to always have to compensate something for another. So if you're gonna take food away from them, you have to give them another activity for they can keep their focus on. So, you know, I think if you're eating so much, you have to stop eating, but find something to replace the eating with. You know, create workout regimens. Not only that, create walking regimens, create bath rituals, create, you know, downtime where you're reading a book. You know, whenever you feel like you need to eat something, fill your belly up with the H3O2 liquids, which is that jelly structured water, the hexogenic water that's going to actually fill you up and give you all the phytonutrients that you need, and it's not going to bloat you, and it ain't going to take that long to actually digest inside the system. So I think it's many things that we can do to compensate from that. It's just people don't be thinking outside the box, and they think that if they're not eating, they gonna die. People literally think that if they fast for too long, they gonna die, and they don't research and see that it's people that fasted 90 days on just water. It's people that fasted 90 days on just juices. It's people that went a whole year on just fruits alone. So there's many different stages and levels to the eating kingdom. Breatharianism is the top form of eating, you know, because you breathing in all this nitrogen, you breathing in atoms, amino acids, and molecules just on drawing on the true breath. So I'm gonna take it back to the breath for real. I think that if we consciously breathe more, you will be fuller because you're breathing in everything that you need from the air. And we need to understand that there's many different levels and energies when it comes to food.
That's beautiful. So, yeah, as you are arguably one of the most hottest, herbalist, and growing healers right now in the healing community. What are the best foods to clear your pineal gland, which is very important right now for the conscious community?
So the first thing is we have to decalcify the pineal gland, and we got to think about what's calcifying it. The things that calcify the pineal gland is fluoride. It's also chlorine bleach that you get from jumping into pools, which the so-called Negro love to swim in his chlorine bleach pools. So we got to get out of the pools. We got to get away from the deodorant that got the fluoride in it. We got to stop, using the toothpaste with the fluoride in it. And then another thing is the meats, cooking the meats, the calcification and the lipids actually mix with calcium on these two, the pituitary gland and the pineal gland, and it calcifies. So things that decalcify the pineal gland, which it would be herbs that decalcify anything like stones, calcification, crystallization, hydrangea root tea mixed with stingy nettle root is things that can help detoxify the pineal gland.
Is that sun gazing as well?
Yeah, sun gazing is a very good one, but you got to teach people how to sun gaze, properly, because it can really damage your eyes if you go out there at the wrong time of day and sun gaze. Like for instance, don't go out at noon when the sun is the highest in the sky to sun gaze. The best time to sun gaze is when the sun is actually leaving and going down, or when it's first coming up, when it's rising. Them the best time to really sun gaze, to stimulate the pineal gland, to get that reflective ultraviolet light to open up that pineal gland. Another thing is, I promote mushrooms. Mushrooms will literally blow that pineal gland open. Just make sure it's ceremonial. Make sure that you're in the right space and have the right mindset. And I suggest that you fasting before doing it. But things like that help with the pineal gland as well. Another one is marijuana tea. You get you some good indica or sativa, 9 hybrid with the seed, some good homegrown ones, should we say, and drink you some good marijuana tea. All of these different psychedelics will help you actually open up the pineal gland as well. And yes, and then we're talking about the endocrine system. We know the pineal gland is the governing, gland of the body. It actually governs the glandular highway, and the main foods that's good for the brain is your berries. Your acai berries, your blackberries, your blueberries, and these things are antioxidants, so meaning it's anti-oxidative stress. These things actually keep your cells from rusting inside of your body. So, if you really want to open the pineal gland and bring a lot of oxygen.
We over that minute. We over that hour, families. I said I love y'all. Let's go to the last meal of the joint. I said I love y'all.
Closer to my king. I can feel it inside me. I'm getting higher. Yeah. Closer to my king. I'm getting higher.